Welcome back to the show, guys. In the wake of Jake Paul's six-round knockout loss to two-time former heavyweight champion of the world, Anthony Joshua, been noticing on the socials and a lot of other YouTube channels some false narratives, some sort of false conjecture that I kind of want to clear up here. I'm going to try not to be repetitive from previous videos, but, number one is I'm hearing a lot that does Jake Paul have a better chin than Francis Ngannou, given the fact that Jake Paul went 5.5 rounds and Ngannou didn't even make it to the end of the second? The answer is an emphatic no. Francis Ngannou has 10 times the better chin than does Jake Paul. Jake Paul ran for 5.5 rounds. He hit the floor either by his own accord or by knockdowns more times than he landed punches. He made no real, true, good faith effort to win. He made a good faith effort to survive. Francis Ngannou in two fights at heavyweight against Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua made a real effort to win. He buzzed Joshua in the first round of their fight with a left hook that woke Joshua up a little bit. Almost the same type of left hook that dropped Tyson Fury in their fight. It's ludicrous to say that Jake Paul has a better chin than Anthony Joshua. And a lot of people will say, well, he broke his jaw and he got up. Look, that's another false narrative that's going around out there. Yes, he broke his jaw. Yes, he got up. But what a lot of people don't understand about boxing is that shot was almost, in effect, a glancing blow. Obviously, it landed flush and it caused damage, right? But he hit him here, okay? And he hit him here while Jake Paul's mouth was open because he was exhausted. So, yes, he broke his jaw. If Joshua had moved that punch from here to here or to here, we're having a completely different conversation today about the outcome of that fight. And you could see in Jake Paul's eyes, he knew that, right? For all intents and purposes, he was sort of okay after that shot. You could see that he was composed. He didn't want to get up after that. He realized that despite it landing and his jaw breaking, that he dodged a bullet, okay? Because if that punch is 1.5 inches, 2 inches higher on the face of Jake Paul, he gets laid out, all right? And he knew it. That's why his eyes went so big after that. So it's complete nonsense. I've heard some people out there, mostly casual, saying the fight was fixed. It was not fixed. Sort of a part of that narrative is that Joshua carried Jake. I don't subscribe to that. I think Joshua was a little bit confused as to what this really was because of the way Jake literally ran. And every time they got in close, he fell down to his knees and grabbed Joshua's legs. It was starting to really frustrate Anthony Joshua. And not in a way that Joshua thought like he was losing or in danger of losing. He's just like, this guy doesn't want to fight. Now, he was very gracious in the post-fight press conference, but you could see the look in Joshua's eyes at times when Jake Paul would do that he was angry. And at one point, Jake fell again. Joshua landed 2 body shots on Jake Paul on the floor. I don't think I've ever seen a guy go down of his own volition and then get hit with 2 body shots. That's a first. Congratulations, Jake Paul. Referee didn't even really admonish Joshua for it because he was just tired of it too. And the ref should have taken a point from Jake for continually to flop on the floor. Guys, that's a foul, okay? If you fall down to avoid confrontation, that is against the rules. Ultimately, I'm glad he didn't. The referee didn't make himself sort of a major player in the fight, and I think that's a good thing. The other thing I'm getting tired of is hearing that Jake Paul has all this courage and massive balls. Look, to get into a boxing ring at any level, it does require a baseline level of courage. That's about all I can give him credit for. He talked all this shit about Anthony Joshua. And I'm tired of giving guys a pass for the shit that they talk when the fight is over. And one of the reasons is Jake Paul continued to talk that smack after the fight. He said he was a better boxer than Anthony Joshua. Is this guy delusional? I think at this point he has some delusions of grandeur, at least to an extent. He's surrounded by yes men. If you were a better boxer than Anthony Joshua, you probably would have won a round or two. You didn't win any round on any judge's scorecard, and none of them were really close. If you were a better boxer than Anthony Joshua before getting knocked out, you would have had to flop to the canvas 13 some odd times to avoid confrontation. If you were a better boxer than Anthony Joshua, you wouldn't have needed a 24-foot ring to last that long. It's ludicrous. You are not a better boxer than Anthony Joshua. And back to the courage thing. Look, did Johnny Knoxville deserve, to say he had big balls because he put on a bulletproof vest and let a guy shoot him in the chest? No. No, that's not courage. You made $50 million for this fight. Good for you. You're a great businessman, but that's not courage. To talk smack about a guy, say you're going to knock him out, and then literally run for 6 rounds, 5.5 rounds? No. I think the Jake Paul show is over. Next point, a lot of people are saying that this proves or perhaps shows he can make a dent at cruiserweight. Then do it already. Fight a ranked cruiserweight. Fight someone ranked in the top 20 at cruiserweight. You have never done that. You have never done that. And I don't know that you could beat any of those guys. Look, the one of the differences would be is those guys are going to be just a percentage point or two more afraid of Jake Paul, which means they're not going to carry him for any rounds. They're going to go get him. They're going to be faster, and they hit almost just as hard. If Jayo Pataya had landed an overhand left on your jaw, it would have been broken in 2 places from the other side. Okay? Zurdo Ramirez would beat you from pillar to post, and you're not going to get an 8-round fight for a world title. You're going to have to fight 12. Guys, the Jake Paul show is over. I wouldn't quite call it exposed because those of us who know boxing knew this for a long time. After the Tommy Fury loss, Jake Paul had no interest in competing at the highest levels of the sport anymore. He knew that he couldn't do it. And, again, he didn't try to win the fight. Peter McNeely, when he fought Mike Tyson, tried to win the fight. He tried. Conor McGregor, when he fought Floyd Mayweather, he tried to win the fight. Obviously, Ngannou tried to win his fights. There was a journeyman kind of club-level fighter from West Virginia named Jeremy Bates. I actually saw him fight Evander Holyfield in Dallas back in, I believe, 2006. And, that was sort of Holyfield's last run at the apple, right? Last comeback. And Jeremy Bates tried to win the fight. He landed an overhand right on Evander Holyfield in the first round that buzzed him a little bit. He was a journeyman. He went out. He did a lot of fights like this. He fought Sergey Liahovich and like BJ Flores. There was another. We fought Andrew Galata on one of his comeback runs. And I actually looked him up. He's fought 3 times in 2025. Good for you, Jeremy Bates. And I met him at the weigh-in. He was super cool. But he tried to win. Jake Paul tried to get views on social media platforms. That was what he tried to do. And everyone's pointing to that overhand right. Yeah, Joshua ate it like it was candy and immediately countered with a punch of his own. So give me a break. You don't have heavyweight power. You don't have elite world level power really in any weight division, even at cruiserweight against a top 20 guy in the world. None of that crap's going to work. I really hope that you are enjoying the holiday season with friends and family. Hit that like button and subscribe. It really helps the channel, and I'll see y'all on the next one.